But what's kind of unique, and I'm going to take an opportunity to speak to our people that are in the business that are in this room right now. What's neat is you bring a guest tray, and I don't know how you invited your guest or whatever, but we invite people, particularly our customers of ours or people that are looking for opportunity, and we somehow you got engaged by somebody. What's unbelievable about that, and you got to know it, Cody, is that some people aren't looking for opportunity, but they bump into one. Okay, some people don't know that that they need an opportunity too, and maybe they don't. Okay, so you're creating interest with people. So after they get this education, so you might bump into someone and say, I never thought about that, and wow, what could happen if? So is this a real possibility? Yeah, this is not potion, lotions, and pills. I want you to know that. We're not into that. This is a company that you'll get an introduction on when it comes back up. It's called Empower, and Byron will introduce the company and talk about our divisions and how we started. But what we're really all about is making a profound difference in people's lives, especially when it comes to money. Now, how many of you could use extra money? Please raise your hand. Okay, my hand's up for me. Okay, if anybody's was your hand up? Or
yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't see it go up because Trey's phone. Oh, get them up. Okay. Here's the deal. Unless you're financially independent, then you need to really pay attention, because we're going to point out to you how you're being taken advantage of, how you don't know some of the rules of the money game, because that's what this is all about. But we brand ourselves, and Byron will go over that. But I want to just open up your mind for a minute. What if this is real? First of all, it's very real. It's very, very real. And what's neat is we just started here about 6 months ago and expanding all over the country, but down in Southwest Florida. So we're looking for some leadership. If it fits your little niche, but just stay here with open mind, because you're going to learn a lot. We're going to overwhelm you. Okay? And you can't get it the first time around. There's no way you're going to absorb all it. We already know that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you all about math, because math never lies. How many of you know that? Okay, math doesn't lie. It's Scott, right? Yep. Scott, 1 and 1 is what?
As far as I know, it's 2.
You're a brilliant guy. And I love it. As far as he knows, that's pretty good. Julia, it is, right? So 10 and 10 is what? How do you know that? It's the deal. See, now math doesn't lie, and people do. How many of you agree with that? Okay, and people lie all the time. How many of you would admit you're a professed liar from the past? I'll absolve you from today. Right. Okay. You didn't raise your hand, Garrett?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't. You just lied again. Okay.
No, I did.
Just keep it up then all night. No. Hey, we like to tease a lot with our own teammates. So it's all about the math, and it's going to freak you out, because we're going to show you things you should have been shown back in grammar school. We have a neat age group in this room right now, which is pretty neat, okay? Especially younger people. You should be very, if I can use the vernacular, I don't know a better word to use right now, because I don't like it, it's not always a problem, but teed off. How about that? You should be very teed off when you find out, because you should have learned this, so our educators don't know it. And by the way, it's in all the financial institutions. You know how many people we've had through here already that are in financial services? Financial, what do you call it, Ryan, when in school? Majors? Yeah, financial major. Finance majors. And they don't know what we're teaching them here. It's in the books, by the way. It's in the textbooks, but the professors aren't teaching it. Anybody know why? Who said that? That's exactly right, because they don't even know. How about that? Isn't that amazing? It's in the book. So what we do is teach the rules that you need to know. Come on in. Welcome. Okay, and so what we're going to do is show you some rules, and then we're going to tell you a story, because here's your sin. How many of you would admit you're naturally a cynic? You don't even trust yourself. Raise your hands. Remember, we just asked about lions, so raise your hands. Mr. Shepley, right up, boom. Okay, because it's true. It's human nature. Human nature is to be a cynic about everything. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'm married to a woman that doesn't believe anything right away, and she doesn't trust anything. Because the world is pretty screwed up this day. How many of you agree with that? The world's a mess right now. You see, and it's a little embarrassing about that. I like being an American because we can fix it. I'm not here to prophesize politics or anything. We're just going to be basic. We're going to teach you the math, and we're going to tell you the story. And in the story, you're going to find out why it's all factual, and you're going to go, whoa. So that's what you're going to be entertained tonight. And you're going to then look at the opportunity and say, wow. So here's what I'm telling you. Everybody in this room should be using the services. Everybody. Because that's why you're here. Because you want to make money work for you, and when you hear what we're going to tell you, you're going to freak out a lot of it. And guess what? It's not your fault that you didn't know this before, because we're all sleeping at the wheel. How many of you know that you can't rely on Washington, D.C. to solve your problems? Okay, my hand's up for me and twice, okay? Used to be one of those kind of guys, okay, in life. So I can talk about it, I'm qualified, all right? You can't rely on legislators to fix your life. And if you are, you better think twice. How many people know I'm telling the truth? Okay, that's what you're going to get tonight, straight talk. Controversial, right at you. We don't have time to waste. None, zero. You want to win in life, there's either winning or there's losing. Your choice. And I don't want to work and build somebody else's dream for them for the rest of my life. In fact, we've been retired for a lot of years personally. We'll tell you our story later. But now to go on, I hope you have a mindset now. I hope your mind's open. I hope you're a little intrigued. And then what we're going to do is get on with our presentation. And the guy that's going to introduce the company, his name is Byron. Byron's been with us for how long, Byron?
3 months now.
3 months. Got himself a license in one of our businesses. We have a company that he'll describe to you. But he came from Ohio, and he wants to be somebody in the worst way. So we welcome up Byron Firestone to give a round of applause, please. Okay.
Well, as you said, my name's Byron Firestone. Yes, I'm somewhat related to the tires, but it's not any way where I financially get anything out of it. So that question out of the way. Welcome. Welcome to Empowers. Welcome to our Tuesday night 7:30 briefing for any and all guests. The first thing that I'm going to open up a little differently today. I wanted to share a little story that I had, and one of my good friends, she's a bartender up in Estero, and she told me a couple days ago, she was saying that, and she was expressing to me that, you know, she goes to work every day, she comes home, feeds the dogs, buys the groceries, goes back to bed, wakes up, eats, goes to work, same thing over and over. She keeps telling me that she feels like there's no advancement in her life or no opportunity to keep going. And I asked her, I said, what does your daily life kind of like look like on your daily day? And she said, well, I go to work at about 4 o'clock, I get there, I get done around 12, I come home, I'll sit and eat, or I'll have a beer, or I'll smoke the hookah, or whatever she does. So about 3 in the morning, sleeps until about 10, 11, wakes up, eats, feeds the dogs, let the dogs out, and goes to work. Now, is anyone here seeing not the problem, but seeing where she's saying she doesn't feel like she has an advancement? You seeing that? She's going to the same job, which pays her just enough not to quit, and she does just enough work not to leave. She pays and for her not to fire, or her not to get fired. My point is what are you doing with your life nowadays that is making you make that 6-figure income? What are you doing nowadays that's making you progress to something bigger? And if you're here for a business opportunity, I'm going to tell you right away, I've been to college. I did a finance major. I majored in finance and business economics at Ohio University. Came down here. The first person that told me my resume was not good enough to make 6 figures was that man back in the back right. And I said, I know. I can't find a 6-figure job. And I guarantee you, unless one of you has a Harvard degree in here, you probably don't have the same thing either. And it's unfortunate because nowadays, a high school diploma is pretty much like a college degree. Because of the fact that college degrees now are taking a lot of jobs that normally they wouldn't have to take because of the fact it's so hard. So my point about this lady, though, was when you sleep, you're sleeping, how many hours did you say was in the week?
168.
168. 40 hours a week for sleep. That's 8 hours a day. It ends up, math-wise, you end up having 50 extra hours. Was it right? 50 extra hours?
56 for
56
work.
extra. 56 hours for sleep?
40 for work.
40 for work?
Left at 72.
You're left for 72 hours. So that's 72 hours. What are we doing?
A week.
A week, yeah, just a week. So what I'm saying is we need to change. So tonight I was going to open up with a little theme, and I want to say that the theme tonight is change. You need to change the way you think. You need everybody that I talk to, not everybody, but a lot of people I talk to, are very closed-minded. And what I mean by that is they think that they're doing everything right, and they don't think that there's any better opportunity right now, and that what they're doing is just going to lead them somehow to a better life. So change. And change comes from doing something different, from coming here tonight. So I thank you for coming here because you took a change already. You already changed your life. So what I'm saying is please listen tonight. Be attentive. Listen very attentively. Participate. Ask questions. We'll answer any questions you have. Like Brian said, everything that we talk about, or Brian, I'm sorry, Steve, after Steve said is, everything we tell you tonight is facts. You can go home and research it. Everything is facts. But who are we? We are Empowered Financial. We are a consumer advocacy group. Does anyone in here know what consumer advocacy means? Besides do the work here. By the way, tonight is going to go really a lot smoother. If you know, when you ask me a question, you want me to answer it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I ask you a question, just participate. You're going to give me wrong answers. You're going to be right answers. I don't really care. What's consumer advocacy?
I don't know.
You don't know? Consumer advocacy means, there we go.
To me, it's if you guys are consumer advocacy, you're fighting for your customer, for your consumer. You're advocating for them to get the best possible outcome in their situation.
Very good. Very good. Consumer advocacy in a very short term, that was a very good answer, is someone that looks out for the best interest in the consumer. Have any of you ever seen Consumer Reports? What this is it's a magazine. They tell you whether this one happens to be about money, but they tell you not only the best thing for the consumer, let's say it's grocery shopping, they tell you what the cheapest, what the best quality is, whatever. And they look out for the best interest of you, and you only. They're not worried about the business, they're worried about you. This is about money, which is what our company is about. We are consumer advocacy in money, because everybody needs more money, wants more money, but they don't know where to go or how to do it to get it. So we have 4 branches to our business. We were started off with energy. Who in here uses energy? Pretty much everybody, right? If you don't use energy, I want to come to your house and check out what's going on. In 14 states, energy is deregulated. What I mean by that is electric is deregulated. In Florida, FP&L. Am I right on that, Garrett? FP&L? FP&L is our electric company. Julia, when you get your electric bill, what do? Yeah. Open it up and pay it, right? Same with most of us. Why is that? Because FP&L is a monopoly down here. It's not a competitive industry. In 14 different states, though, it's deregulated, which means we can go into somebody's house and tell them, you have options. You want a lower price? Here's this. You want better service? Here's this. It's just like grocery shopping. You go to Walmart for the better price, you go to Whole Foods for the better quality. So you're not only helping out somebody, maybe saving them money, but you'll make money at the same time doing that. Consumer advocacy. Got for the best interest of you, best interest of me. Second branch of our business is business auditing. Audits, as you can see right here. I know audit sounds kind of like a accounting term, but it's not as difficult as it seems. Anyone in here that owns a business? Does anyone own a business in here? No? Okay, well, if you ever go into a bar, for example, go into a bar, the business owner, they have everyone pays with credit cards nowadays. That credit card, every time you swipe, it's called a merchant account, and you're paying someone, on average, 3 to 5% for that merchant account. Telecom services, telephone, internet, cable, you're paying somebody for that as well. What we do, as Empower, can go in and check to see if you've ever been misbilled, overcharged, or if you've ever had a better rate or service that could have been offered to you that wasn't. What's your name, sir, by the way?
Josh.
Josh, if you're paying me for my merchant account that I provided to you, and you owe me $50 a month, and then all of a sudden, I have a special 1 month, and I say, you know what, anyone that signs up with me right now is $30. You think they're going to call you up and say, guess what, you overpaid, I owe you $20?
No, sure.
Exactly. But not just that, they're just not going to call you because guess what, they just made 20 extra bucks off you. So what we do is we go back and see if you've ever been misbilled, up to 2 years, misbilled, overcharged, or if there's ever been a better rate of service, and we get you a refund for that money. Oh, by the way, that analysis is free, and we'll save you money for the future. And if you're in the business, if you're looking for a business opportunity for this, you're thinking, oh, what do I got to do that? You need a signature, and last month's merchant account billing service, or last month's telecom services. We're seeing little as $7,000 all the way up to $300,000 of saving businesses. So they're saving money, oh, and you get paid on it. Anybody see a too good to be true type situation there? You save money, you get money. Pretty good, consumer advocacy. The third part of our business here, debt program. One of my personal favorites, because I'm recently putting my information in there, my family's information in there. Who in here is in debt? Or at least knows somebody in debt? I better see everybody's hands up. You got to know somebody in debt. Everybody is in debt, especially since credit cards came out. Credit cards came out and they said, you know what? You can spend money that you don't have. That's awesome, isn't it? What's your name, sir?
Right.
You have a credit card?
Yeah.
Ever spend money that you're sitting there going, you know what? I don't have $100, but I'll have it sooner or later.
Sure.
Everybody does. So you're spending money you don't have. And then guess what? Then you get more in the hole and you need to pay interest. 23%, 25%, credit cards, stuff like that. So everyone's in debt. What our debt program does is you put all your information in there. Mortgages, credit cards, car loans, anything. Whatever you have. You put your information in and it shows you the most efficient and quickest way to pay off your debt without spending an extra dollar out of pocket. Let me emphasize that one more time in case you guys didn't hear me. Without spending an extra dollar out of pocket. It also works as a GPS system of life. I know you're sitting there going, oh, GPS system of life, that's kind of awesome. Or maybe you're sitting there going, I don't know what that is. If you're in a town, you don't know actually. So you're in a town, you're out in the hood, and you take, you don't know where you're going, and there's a street to the left. Your GPS says, you know what, take a left. What are you going to do? You're going to take a left, right? This works as the GPS system of life in your debt program. So let's say one of you, two nice ladies, both of you decide you're going to take me out to dinner tonight because I did a good presentation and I'm handsome and single. So you decide to take me out. So we go over to Applebee's. And I order a steak because I like steak. It ends up being $70. You swipe your card for $70. In that moment, in that instant, right then and there, that goes into your debt program. It shows you what it's doing to your debt right now and what now you need to do to get out, to move forward, to make progress to get out of that situation. It tells you to turn left when you need to turn left. It tells you to turn right when you need to turn right. All you got to do is follow GPS. When you follow GPS, do you get where you need to go? Yeah. 30-year mortgages paid off in 9 years without spending an extra dollar out of pocket. Could you imagine having a 30-year mortgage and being paid off in 9 years? You know how much money you're saving? A lot of money. So now, you've saved money on electric, you've saved money on your business, you're out of debt, where do we go? The fourth and final branch of our business, financial services. You, sir, right there in the Nike shirt. Who's the most important person in your life?
Jim?
Right and wrong answer at the same time. You, sir. If you're not there, how do you have a life? The most important person, there we go, most important person in your life is yourself. Without you, you don't have a life. So who do you pay first when you get that check? Anybody? Yourself. You always pay yourself first. Steve Young has a great story that he always tells, and I love it to death. He always says the moment that he found out that the philosophy of paying yourself first, he would pay himself before he'd pay his rent. And he always says that he would be back on rent one month. He'd tell the landlord, listen, it's coming. I'll get it to you next week. I'll get it to you. How big was your apartment, by the way, Steve, in that point?
About 900 square feet.
How big is your place now?
Well, the one that I moved into was 6,600 square feet.
Paid himself first. Retirement. Anyone in here have a 401k, 403b, IRA, anything like that? Who are you in partnership with your retirement plan?
Retirement, I got a 401 and a 457.
It's great. It's great because guess what? You're saving. Who are you in partnership with that though?
City neighbors.
Who gets the first cut when you go to take out your money?
Government.
Uncle Sam.
Yep.
I love my country. I hate my uncle. Uncle Sam will take all your money because guess what? I put my money in this. Let's say this is my retirement account. I put my money in this. I not only put my money in this, it's my money. I want to access it when I want. I don't want to pay 10% penalty fees before 59.5. If I want that money, I want it now. And when I pull it out, I don't want Uncle Sam to touch it. If I told you that was possible, would any of you guys listen?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen up. Retirement. But before you can find out how to get tax-free retirement, before you can find out how to get against market loss, you need to know how the rules of the game work. Because if you don't know how the rules of the game work, which is money, by the way, if you don't know how the rules of money work, you've already lost. You've already lost. You have no chance. Because what you don't know is what you don't know. And what you don't know will keep you broke. It amazes me how many people will come in this room, sit here and listen to everything we have to say, which we have a lot of information that we will tell you. But I don't expect you to get it all in one night. But it amazes me how many people go out there, and once you step out that door, you go back to your old ways. And when I say that, I mean you go back to just staying broke. Make a change. Like I told you the story before, the theme tonight is change. When you go out there tonight and you leave, change. Do something to make that six-figure income. Do something to make progress every day. The rules of money will be described by my good friend Garrett Coe. He will start off with the Rule of 72. If you don't know what the Rule of 72 is, it's the way money doubles. It was invented by a little man that is kind of famous now. Albert Einstein, you might know him. He said that the Rule of 72 is the most powerful mathematical equation ever invented. And it is so simple. And I'm a finance major and business economic major, and I was never taught this until I started working here. So Garrett Coe, will you please come up here?
Thanks, Byron. Well, guys, for most of you that know me in here, my name's Garrett. Been in the power for about 7 months now, kind of since we launched off here. And basically what I'm going to show, I'm a little cold, by the way, so pardon me, is something that's pretty cool. It's called the Rule of 72, and I was about 17 years old when I first saw it. Steve Young's office back when I was a kid. And it's a really simple mathematical equation of just simply how money doubles. And like I said, you go through college, you go through high school, and there's so many people that have never heard this before. Like, for example, is there anybody in here that's never seen the Rule of 72 before? Antonio, Julia, what's your name back there? Dylan? Josh, have you seen it? Josh and I are good buddies, by the way. We work together, and he's an accounting major currently at FGCU. So I'm going to pick on you, Josh, a little bit, all right, if that's okay with you.
It's fine.
All right, so simply the Rule 72 is if you wanted to, definitions, how money doubles using the compound effect. And it's an interest rate calculation. So what do? You divide any interest rate into 72, and then it's going to show you how many years it's going to take for your money to double. So it's that simple. So any interest rate calculation, if you have a retirement plan that has a rate of return, a credit card that has a certain interest rate, a mortgage that has an interest rate, a car loan that has a 4% interest rate, you could divide that into 72. It's going to show you how long it's going to take for that money to double on top of itself. So it's pretty simple. So we're going to do a little example of how the Rule 72 works. So we're going to take somebody the age of 23. Is anybody 23 in here, by the way? Got a couple of us, 3, 4. So for this, it's pretty good. So we're just going to take somebody who's 23 years old, who's got $5,000 that they wanted to invest. Now, let's say they wanted to put it into a savings account, right? Because, Julia, if you had $5,000 and you just wanted to go put your money somewhere, or you get a paycheck when you work, where does that money normally go initially, before anywhere else? Go to the bank, right? So say you put your money into a bank in a savings account because you wanted to start building a little, savings for yourself. Do you know the average rate of return for most savings accounts right now in the bank?
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%, exactly. It's actually between 0.2 to 0.5%. So if you wanted to calculate a 0.2 to 0.5% of how long that money is going to double, take 0.2 to 0.5, divide it into 72, which is going to double 72, so it's going to be 144 years for that money to double. So let's say I opened up a bank, okay? I started an International Bank of Garrett, and I made it nice and fancy, nice big bright lights, nice sign outside, and I entice you to say, Julia, I'm going to give you a brand new watch. If you come to my bank, and I'm going to give you 2% rate of return, which is way better than Bank of America, way better than anywhere else. Come put it in a savings account with me. I'm going to give you 2%. Sounds pretty good, right? You're like, oh, great. I'm going to get a brand new watch. I'm getting 2% as opposed to 0.2 to 0.5. So I say, great. No, so you're going to come to me. You're going to take your $5,000 and you're going to invest it one time. You get $5,000. You're going to put it into a savings account at 2%, right? So if you wanted to calculate out how long it's going to take that $5,000 to double, take 72 divided by 2. It's going to equal 36. Now 36 years is how long it's going to take. So let's go ahead and do it. So here you are, Julie, you're 23, you got $5,000, you come to the Bank of Garrett, and I'm going to give you a nice watch. So there's your watch, okay? So you wanted to see how long it's going to take for that $5,000 to turn into 10, so let's go ahead and do it. So your money's doubling every 36 years, so from 23, you're going to the age of 59, so now doubled from 5 to 10, right? Then you do it another 36 years, you're at the age of 95, now you double from 10,000 to 20,000, right? Simple math, straightforward. And so you're 95, you got $20,000, with that I go woo-hoo. Because at the age of 95, you're 23 now, what is 20 grand really going to do, especially if you're retiring at 60, 65, right? But you're putting in a savings account, you're doing the right thing. So let's say, you know what, Julia, I feel bad for you. Because you're only getting 20,000, let's say I wanted to give you 6%. Let's say, hey, 20 grand is not going to do a whole lot. So I'm going to give you 6%. I'm going to bump it up. You still get your watch, still get your fancy, 6% rate of return. So now you just take it 72 divided by 6 is going to equal 12 years. So instead of doubling every 36, now it's doubling every 12. You're the same 23-year-old, so you got the same $5,000. I'm going to ask a question. What do you think you might have at the age of 95 at 6% as opposed to 2%? And all we did, we jumped 4% points higher. So we went from 2 to 6, and we cut the time down by a third. So instead of 36, to 12. So you can just take a wild guess. I know you don't know the answer or anything.
100,000.
100,000 sounds good. Josh, what do you think? Counting the beans in his head there.
I'm trying to, I'm thinking 60.
60? Sounds good. Antonio?
I would say 60.
60? Sounds good. Well, here's the deal. I'm the bank, right? So you came to me, you gave me your $5,000. I'm going to give you 6% rate of return and give you the nice watch. You guys think it's a great deal, so you give it to me, and then I give you my deal back. I'll give you your 100,000. I'll give you your 60,000. I'll give you your 60,000. Sound good? Right? Because that's what we wanted. That's what the guess was. So here's the deal, though. Because I'm the bank and because you gave me your money, I'm going to keep the rest. I'm going to give you your 60,000, whatever you like in your watch, but I'm going to keep the rest. Okay? So let's go ahead and just see what happens with it. So 12 years after 23, you're going to 10,000 because it's doubling. 12 years later, you're at the age of 47. There's 20,000 as opposed to 95 there, which is a huge difference. 95 and 47. I'd take 47 all day on that. Go another 12 years later, you're at the age of 59 with $40,000. 12 years later, you're at the age of 71 with 80,000. So Josh, see you later. Antonio, I'll see you later. So Julie, you're still looking good, right? So another 12 years later, though, here we go. Now we're at 160, and we're going to go 12 years down the line. Finally, at the age of 95, I'm sitting at 320,000. So I can give all three of you everything you wanted, 60, 60, 100, and I'm still going to profit off that, right? So let's do it one more time. Let's go a little bit realistic now. Let's say you're investing money, you want to invest it somewhere, and you're going to get an 8% rate of return. Now, the average stock market has been a little over 9% in the last 20 years. So for this, we're going to show an 8%, which is your money's going to double every 9 years. 72 divided by 8 every 9 years, right? Simple math, rule 72. Is everyone follow me? Any questions yet on it? So the same 23-year-old, Julia's got the same $5,000. She's going to put it in a savings account or wherever you want to put it at 8%. It's going to double every 9 years. Now I'm going to ask the same question. What do you think you might have at 95 this time? Just 2 points higher, from 6 to 8. And instead of 12 years, 9 years. So I cut the time down by 3 years. That's it. That's small of a change. What do you think you might have?
750,000.
750,000? Sounds good. Josh, what do you think you might have?
650.
650? Antonio?
A lot of money.
A lot of money. I like it. I like it. Well, there you go. Let's go. So we're going to do it one more time. At 8%, a lot of money is what we want, right? So let's see what it actually ends up being. So 23, just add 9 years to it. You're at the age of 32. There's 10,000. 9 years down the road, you're at the age of 41. There's 20,000 as opposed to 95 there. So you're only on a 6-year difference from the middle there, 6% as opposed to 8%. Only 6 years right now for your $20,000 mark. But 9 years down the road, you're at the age of 50, 80 or 40,000. 59, 80,000. 9 years down the road, 68, 160,000. And here's where it gets really exciting, because then you go to 320 at the age of 77, double 320. 9 years later, 640,000. And then finally, at the end, you're at the age of 95, $1,280,000 with the same $5,000 that you put in initially, just at getting an 8% rate of return. So what I like to say, or what we like to ask, is that you have A over there on the left, B over there on the right. Julie, if you had a choice of which one you like, would you like to have A or B? B, of course. Yeah, so you go where the money is, right? Of course you'd want that. Now, what we like to say about that is that this is legalized extortion. Why do we say extortion? Extortion meaning theft is because you're going to the bank. I open up the bank. I entice you to get a new free watch. I'm going to give you 2% rate of return, or in most savings account cases, 0.2 to 0.5, right? So you're taking your $5 and putting it there. They're going to give you, let's say, they're going to give you 2%. They'll give you that $20,000, like that deal that I made with you. Hey, you want 60? You want 100? I'll give it to you. I'll give you your watch. But I'm actually going to invest there. They're taking your money that you're putting in your savings account. They're investing it at a rate of return of 8%, making $1.2 million, and they're only going to give you $20,000. Doesn't seem fair, right? Why is it that they get to go do that? Why is it that they have the biggest buildings, the brightest lights, and they're one of the richest industries in the world? And so that's what we really show. We say it's legalized theft. Hey, we're giving our money doing what we think is the right thing to do, savings accounts, putting it in, getting enticed by benefits of watches, whatever you want to do. Just make an example, but that's what they're giving you. That's what they're making on your money. So what we're going to go to next, though, is that this is the rule of 72. So everyone follows is pretty simple, right? Just take 72 divided by whatever the interest rate is. So what happens if there's a 1-year loss, though? That was a perfect world. Perfect world where nothing bad ever happens. It's going to double out every single year, no problem. So we're going to show now the rule of 72 with an impact of a loss of 5%. And in this, we're going to take 72 divided by 7.2, so it's going to double every 10 years. So it's simple math. So again, 72 divided by the interest rate, it's going to show how many years it's going to double. 72 divided by 7.2 is going to equal every 10 years. And we're going to start with $1,000. And we're going to play it all the way out just to show the progression of 1,000, how it gets down to 2,000. It's going to double every 10 years. So at year number 10, this is the progression. Every single year, it's compounding out. To finally year number 10, where you have $2,000, right? So nice and easy. So what happens, though, if there's a 5% loss? In the rule of 72, how does it work? Because we know the compound interest of money works positively, right? But it can also work in a negative way. So if you have 1 year of 5% loss, how does that affect your compounding money in the long run? And for this example, we're going to show it at year number 2. So we're going to have the same $1,000 at year 0, so initial start at 1,000, and we're going to just go ahead and play it out. So here we go. Year 1, you're at the same exact thing. Now year 2, we're going to have a negative loss of 5%. So we have a 5% loss in 1,072. It's going to leave us the remaining balance of 1,018 as opposed to 1,149, right? So there's a 5% loss. So what is that going to do to our bottom line? We just go ahead and play it out. These are all positive years. We're building on up, building on up. Finally, year number 10, which is 1,776. Now, Josh, you're an accounting guy, so if you were to just quickly mathematically calculate it out, it's not actually 5% loss. In reality, it's 11.4% because of the way it's compounding out. So what you're seeing and what you're being shown is this 5% loss, but it compounds out because the compound effect of money, it works positive and negative. It's going to grow all the way down, and compound out actually 5% equals 11.4. So when you see that 5% loss, you say, hey, that's not, it's not so bad, right? But I would take 5% loss as opposed to 11.4. But I sure as don't want to think I'm only getting 5, and I'm actually getting 11.4, right? So it's compounding out. So if you just go to year number 20, it's going to show the same exact loss effect, 11.4. So down here, year 20, you got 3,552. And circle it down there, and that's the grumpy cat of finance because he's upset. He's my buddy. But he's a little upset because he thought he only lost 5%. In reality, he was actually 11.4. So he's a little grumpy. He's a little upset. Steve likes to joke that it looks like me. I don't see the resemblance. Maybe the nice hair and the blue eyes. I don't know. But okay, so that was the rule of 72 with the impact of a 1-year loss of 5%. So you can see how it really makes a difference in the bottom line. Because I definitely want 2,000 as opposed to 1,776. That's just me, though. So the next thing I'm going to do is an example of a retirement plan. Now, there's a couple people in here that have 401ks. Julie, you said you had a 401k, anything like that? Who is in there? Let's raise your hand. Go back there. There's a couple people in there that have 401ks, IRAs, stuff like that. So this is going to be an example of a real-life retirement plan, and here's the facts of it. The facts are we have somebody who's at the age of 35, and he's going to invest for 30 years, $500 per month at a 10% rate of return, right? So what do you think that might equal? So he's for 30 years straight, so $500 a month, boom, 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 pumping it in, pumping it in, pumping it in. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have $500 extra a month that you just throw in to your savings account or retirement plan right now, but he's doing this for 30 years straight. and he's getting a rate of return of 10%. So that's pretty good. So what do you think it might be at the end of the total? Which here's the answer. So after 30 years of $500 per month, 10% rate of return, he's at $1,788,761, which is great, right? You know, he gets to the age of 65. That's a pretty blue number he's looking at, which is awesome. So at that point, this person is looking at it saying, hey, you know, I can retire off that. I can retire off almost $1.8 million, right? I mean, most people would. I would sure like that. Antonio, how about you?
Mhm.
Yeah, you'd like that. I know you would. I want lots of money. Coach, what page is this thing on?
89.
Okay, so these are the facts, right? That's what the rate of return is. So there's a few things that we have to deal with first. So let's deal with reality. And what is reality? Well, there's a few things that have to be applied to this blue number before we can really advance further to go access it. So the first thing is market loss. Market loss is always affected to anybody that has your money in the S&P 500, in the stock market, right? So if you have your money into a 401k IRA type plan, it's going to be affected by market loss. In this example, I'm going to show 2 years that we're going to have that negative effect, like the last slide that we had, where we had the negative 5% loss in year number 2, right? Now we're going to have 2 out of 30 years. So we're going to expand 30 years out. We're going to have 2 years where the market goes down one time 5%, and the market's going to go one time down, one time 10%, right? So in 30 years. Now, Antonio, can I use you here? Okay, so this book here is called Common Sense Retirement. And in it, it has the actual rate of returns from the S&P 500 from 2000 to 2012. So I'm going to have Antonio read out, in the year 2000, what was that rate of return there?
Negative 10.14%.
Negative 10.14. Okay, in 2001, the year after that, what was that one?
13.04.
What was it?
13 negative.
Ah, there you go.
Negative.
I'll take 13, but I don't want to take negative 13.
Negative.
0.04. Okay, in 2002, what is that one?
Negative 23.
Negative 23. So the first 3 years, from 2000, 2001, 2002, we had negative 10, negative 13, negative 23. And then in 2003, we jump up to 26, positive 26, so that's good. In 2004, we go up almost 9%. 2005, we're up 3%. Blue. 2006, we're up 13. 2007, 3.53 positive gain. And then 2008, what was that one?
Negative 38.49.
Negative 38.49. So in 2008, we lost almost 39% of our retirement, our entire retirement fund goes away. Boom, just like that. And so you think, you know, all these years, so we had 3 bad years of double-digit losses, right? Negative 10, negative 13, negative 23. Then we start gaining back, so we're feeling good. We got plus 26. Now we're finally getting back. We're almost getting back to where we were before. 2008, 40% of it goes away. Boom, just like that again. Then in 2009, we rebound a little bit to 23. 2010, we're up 12. 2011, you're at 0. And then 2012, we're up 13. So the point of that, and why I like to show it, is that 5 years out of the last, from 2000 to 2012, so 5 years out of 12, were double-digit losses or 0. Okay? So does everyone follow me what I'm saying by that? So I'm going to show that was 12 years, from 2000 to 2012. We had double-digit losses, 5 of those years being super negative. In this, we want to be ultra-conservative. 2 years out of 30 are going to be bad. So because we want to be conservative, we want to show it, so we have 1 bad year, 5%. 1 bad year, 10%. None of these losses are lower than 5 or 10. The lowest one we have is negative 10.14. So again, we're going to be ultra conservative, showing 1 bad year, 5%, 1 bad year, 10. That's all I want to show, is just that, the last 5 years. So we want to be conservative on market loss. We're going to show those 2 bad years, and then what's next? Well, fees and commission. In any kind of qualified retirement plan, you have some sort of fees or commissions tied to it. It's just cost of doing the business. It's what they have. The average is 3, could be all the way up to 5% a year. Now, whether you're up in the market or down in the market, you have to pay a fee. It's a management fee. It's 3 to 5%. So somewhere there, we have to account for the market fees and commissions, the loss of our fees and commissions. So we have market loss, fees and commissions at 3%. We're going to show an example of 1.5 because, again, we want to be super conservative, right? So instead of having a 3 to 5% market loss, or fees and commission of 3 to 5%, we're going to be conservative and show 1.5. Because again, we want to be super conservative with this example. So we got market loss, 2 bad years, a 1.5% fee, which cuts our average fee in half. And then finally, we're going to go with taxation. So we have, when Byron asked before, when you go to touch your 401k, who gets the money first? Uncle Sam. He takes tax, right? Taxes are on it. So we're going to plug in tax loss to that. So of that $1,788,000, let's apply reality to it. 2 years of market loss, 1.5% fee, and taxes of 25%. What do you think you might have as the remaining balance? Anybody want to take a wild guess on what you think you might have? Josh, accountant guy, you counting the beans in your head? Trying to? Yeah, right? So we're applying, we're doing it. Julie, what do you think? No idea? Well, let's go and say. So our net investment return is $588,634. So of our almost $1.8 million, reality ate away at it, left us with $588,000, which isn't so bad. So you might say, hey, that's not so bad. I can still live off $588,000 until you see what you did, what you gave and paid others, because this makes me sick. I paid others $1.2 million of my hard-earned sweat equity that I'm putting away, doing the right thing for myself, putting away into a qualified 401k IRA type plan to do the right thing, and that's how much money has been taken away from me and my family to go somewhere else, to go pay those brokers, to go pay taxation, to go to market loss. And this is a conservative effort, right? We all agree that this is pretty conservative. Out of 30 years, 2 of them only being bad, 1 at 5, 1 at 10. Go through the last 12 years, we had huge losses. Apply a 38.46% negative loss on that. We only did 5 and 10. Apply 38% to have that. How low is that net investment return, right? So that's what we like to show, the example of retirement plan. Now, what we go from here is, well, you should have a strategy, right? There should be a strategy to where you're investing, why you're investing, how you're investing. And we like to refer to a sports guy, a guy named Bear Bryant. Josh, you know who Bear Bryant is? He was the head coach of Alabama back in the day. He was a great head coach for Alabama football. And he had a great line that we actually kind of held on to in our business, and we applied it to the financial world. And he said, offense sells tickets, right? Because everyone wants to see the good pass, the good run, breaking the tackle, scoring the touchdown, and getting a lot of points. So offense sells tickets, but defense wins national championships. And that's what he said. We held on to it when we were rugby players. Some of us still play. Trey should play, but Josh, you should play too. But we talk about this all the time in rugby. Steve Young was actually my head coach back when I was in high school, so he said this all the time. We drilled on defense, on defense, and defense. Offense came natural. I mean, you can naturally just kind of run the ball, but defense was an art. If you keep the other team from scoring, you're going to win the game all the time. Not some of the time, but all the time. If they never score, you're always going to win that game. So we applied this to ourselves. And we say, you know what, we should have an offensive defensive strategy. So a defensive strategy for us, and if we apply it to a retirement fund, well, what's the first thing we want to defend against? Right here. So market loss. We want to have a good defensive strategy against market loss. We don't want to be losing 5%. We don't want to be losing 10%. We don't want to be losing 38% like we did in 2008. So number one is going to be market loss. We want to have a good defensive strategy against our market loss. Well, what's number two? What's a good defense going to do for us with fees and commissions? So the average, like we said, is 3 to 5%. We cut it in half in this example because we want to be conservative. But we want to have a good strategy against fees and commissions. We want low fees and commissions. We don't want it to be eaten away for us. So commissions and fees are going to be number two. Good defensive strategy against commission and fees. And number three of our defensive strategy is in here on our last reality check that we had to apply to our almost $1.8 million was tax loss of 25%. Most of us in here probably fall between the bracket of 25 to 28%. And so we have to apply that to our bottom line number, which was the 1.8, which we don't want to have to do if we don't have to do it, right? We didn't have a choice. So Julie, if you had a choice to pay taxes or not pay taxes, which one would you like?
Absolutely.
Right. What about you, Antonio? Like you say, if you didn't have to pay taxes ever, say you can keep every dollar you ever have. You never had to pay taxes on anything. Sales tax, you go to 7-Eleven, never had to pay sales tax. Would you want to do that? It'd be great, right? Think about how much more money you have. Well, that's not reality, but we want to have a good defensive strategy against tax loss, which we're going to say on here is going to be tax efficiency. We want to have good, strong tax efficiency. That's efficiency. Okay, so that's going to move us to our offensive strategy. So there's our 3 defense to go stop them from scoring, to make sure that we're always going to be protected. Goal line defense, right? Now our offense strategy is going to be, we want to go score some points. We want to make a big play. We want to sell some tickets. We want to pack the stands. So our first offense strategy is that we're going to apply, and it should be applied to every kind of, we think, you know, any kind of retirement account, anything should have a good offensive defensive strategy. And number 1 being offense is growth. If you're going to put your money, you want it to grow, especially you're going to do $500 per month. You want it to grow to be that pretty blue number of almost 1.8 million. So number 1 is going to be growth. We want that money to grow. And number 2, so we're going to have it grow. And what's the whole point of having it grow if we're not going to be able to draw income from it? This is retirement. We want to be able to draw income from it. So number 2 is going to be growth to income. Number 3, well, if you're going to have it grow, if you want to draw income from it, you want it to be safe. So number 3 on our offensive strategy is going to be safety. We need it to be safe. Goal line defense against our market loss. Want it to be safe. Number 4 of our offensive strategy. Well, if it's growing, we're going to be able to draw income. We want it to be safe. We want to have liquidity. Liquidity meaning it's your money, you want to access it, go touch it, go get it. The gentleman, Mr. Shepperly, right?
Yes, sir.
If you had to go access your money in your 401k right now, what do you have to do?
I'm pretty close to being able to do that, but if I took anything out early, there'd be huge penalties.
There's penalties, about 10% penalty. We don't like that. We think you should have a good offensive strategy against liquidity. It's your money you're putting away for yourself, your family, your future. Be able to access it, you can access it, right? And then number 5, our final offensive strategy is going to be, again, tax efficiency. So that's number 5, tax efficiency, and I'm actually going to put in parentheses under here. We want to be tax-free. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And where do we go to get this? And I'll bring Ryan up here shortly, but we'll bring a little video on up, which is pretty cool. This is a Yahoo video that they talked about exactly what we're in the field about and exactly what we're in the business to do. And this is a little Yahoo video. It's pretty cool, so check it on out. Oh, maybe not. Go back here.
When I was younger, I never thought about retirement. Never entered my mind. Even to this very day, I'm still shocked that I'm in the position that I'm in.
I really never had any savings, and I was contributing to the 401k at my job. And when I got fired, I had to take some of that money just to live.
Seriously began saving when I was in my 60s. I'm sorry I didn't start a lot earlier. Nothing ever works out the way you plan it.
When I got into my early 50s, all of a sudden, I started realizing I'm never going to be able to retire. And I want to retire because, first of all, as I said, I did not have a career. I had a job.
People that I know, my friends, they're in their 70s already and they're still working.
I can't save for retirement right now with what I'm earning. Over the last 10 years, I've had to really reinvent myself. So I applied for a university in the city. I was accepted, and now I'm living off with student loans. I'm probably going to be in debt for close to $200,000. And I honestly don't think I'll ever be able to repay that.
I have quite a few friends the same age as me that are trying to either reinvent themselves, trying to find a job. It's very hard over 50 to find a full-time job, and they're all struggling. We joke around that we may all live communal to make ends meet when we get older, because it's tough.
I sold some furniture. I had a friend pay me to pay their apartment. You know, I'm doing what I whatever I can do.
All right, well, that's my little deal. So for that, I'm going to bring Ryan on up to go in a little bit more about how this works. So thank you.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, I said. I'm saying good morning because it's time to wake up, right? Is anybody a little concerned or disturbed right now? At all? A little bit? I'm actually a little afraid myself because I think Antonio here is going to jump across the table and strangle me, asking me why nobody told him this before. Am I right, Antonio?
Yeah.
A little concerning, right? This is pretty profound what we're looking at here. We're looking at stuff that you should have been taught years ago, and nobody showed you this. Why did nobody show you any of this? Your teachers, your parents. And it's not their fault either because your parents didn't know anything about this. Rule 72, we don't know anything about that. I didn't know that until I learned it here. Same with all of us. It's pretty profound and important to know just the basics of how money works so that we can do the best we can in planning for our future. Nobody showed us that at all. We got two choices here, right? You guys remember, what is it? Actually, it's A and B, right? We got A and B. I bet you there's a lot of people in this room that are sitting under A right now, and they're pretty worried about what's going to happen to them. They're sitting there going, why am I here? They're saying exactly that. But I think we should choose the big one, right? Better one. We want, how much money do we want, Antonio? A lot of money. We need a lot, and the truth is, for our generation, most of us in here, the young people of our country are going to need about $7 million in order to maintain the standard of living that we have today. And that's CNN News, CNN Money that just came out with that not too long ago, a couple months ago. I read it in an article. So when I saw that number, does anybody have $7 million in the bank right now at 23 years old, 25 years old? I don't think so. How are we going to even get even remotely close to that? I did the math today, and at a state job, DEP, I'm a biologist, if you're making about $40,000 a year and you're putting money away, your 401k, even if you stash all that money away, through your whole life, you're only going to make about $700,000. If you're working for 30 years, that's the total amount of money you're going to make working your entire life for 40 hours a week. How close to 7 million is that? 1/10. You'd have to live 10 times in order to save enough to retire. So how do we do that? What do we got to do? We got a lot of work to do, right? We got to make more money. We got to learn how we're making the rules of the money game work for us. Because the truth is, money doesn't care who owns it. Doesn't care at all. Money has no feelings for you. I wish it was attracted to me because I would like more of it. But it doesn't care at all. It only cares what you do with it. Those rules apply to everyone. It's just math, right? We're talking about math here, not magic. We do the numbers, and we can see exactly what the impact of what you're doing is going to be now and what it could be based on the decisions you're making with your money today, right now. So we're all concerned right now because a lot of us are sitting right here. We want to go over here. We want to make that Rule 72 work for us. So how do we do that? We're talking about getting 8% in the example. That's, if you remember, we're giving the banks $1.26 million and they're giving us 20? It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Does anybody agree with that? Okay, it's ridiculous. That's hard-earned money that's ours. We're growing it for ourselves and our families, not for somebody else. So how do we even go about doing that? And what we do here is we try to educate you first on how money works so we have an understanding of what our current situation is. What can we do about this? And then we give options. And there's a lot of options out there. And one of them that we work with, let me get through this here. is called an IUL. So is everybody okay with offensive and defensive strategies? How do we achieve these? We achieve these through what's called an IUL. So in IUL, you know what, I'm just going to leave that up there. In IUL, I'm going to do this in orange so you can see it. It's called an Index Universal Life. It's a retirement insurance contract. And what this does for you is three things. One, it gives you life insurance. Now, all of us are young, and you might be saying, I don't need life insurance, I'm young. Life insurance is a disgusting subject, and nobody likes to talk about it, but there are reasons why we use this product here, which is related to life insurance. The second thing that it gives you is living benefits, which is huge, huge for all of us. One of the reasons why we're in this and why we're so passionate about what we do is living benefits, and I'm going to have Trey come up and talk about that shortly. 3 is a tax-free retirement. I apologize if I'm in front of this, but I'm running sideways. Tax-free retirement. We saw the impact of taxes in one of these slides, along with the impact of market loss. Right here, you saw the double-digit losses. That's not just those numbers. That's 38% loss in 2008. Compound that out, you remember what a 5% loss looks like. That's 11.4. Imagine what a 38% loss really means to somebody. Just imagine. And you might think, somebody might tell you, okay, you can come back from that. But if you think about it, you're losing from a high number. When you get back down here, you gained 38%. Are you going to be right back where you started? No. Not even close. It's going to take you years to even get back near where you were. And here, look at this. We're talking about defending against these things, right? Market loss, commissions and fees, and tax loss, tax-free retirement. That's the third thing that allows us to do this. So how do we go about doing that? What makes this possible? Because you might be thinking that's too good to be true, right? How do you avoid market loss? How do you cut your commissions and fees in half? And how do you get tax-free retirement? Does anybody think that might be a little too good to be true? You're getting the best of all worlds right there. There's a few reasons why. And we think it's too good to be true that nobody knows about this. And the reason for that is that this product came out in 2000, and I'll give you some more history on it. It was perfected not until 2005. So even people that have been in the industry for years and years don't have a clue about what this is. When I was learning, when I was getting licensed with the state, the person instructing my class went over this for about 2 seconds and really had no information to tell me about what it is or how it worked. And I was asking the questions because that's why I got into this, because of how powerful. Technology changes every day, right? You buy a cell phone, 2 weeks later, you need a new cell phone because a better one just came out. All right? Can anybody relate to that? I just bought a cell phone, and 2 weeks later, a new one came out. That's why I'm saying 2 weeks. It literally happened to me. So let me show you the red line, blue line here. This is what we call red line, blue line. Red line is the S&P 500. Has anybody ever heard of that before? Okay, it's the market index that we use as a barometer for how the United States is doing as a whole in the stock market. And what it is the top 500 companies in the country, and this is just an index, a number that shows how they're all doing. It used to be the Dow Jones. Is everybody familiar with Dow Jones? I used to think it was a guy, Mr. Dow Jones. It's not. It's two guys, Dow and Jones, who came up with the industrial index. What the Dow Jones is the top. It's the top 30 companies in 6 different industries in the United States. Now, the S&P 500 lately, for years now, has been used as the main one just because it provides a much better barometer for what's going on in the country. And if 80% of the money in the country is wrapped up in those companies, and if they go down, we're all going down. I think it's a pretty good barometer for what's going on. Yeah. Because most of the money runs through them. They're the wealthiest of the wealthy. That's the base, the foundation of our economy. So here, the S&P 500, this red line is where 95% of people have their lifetime savings right now. So this is a real-life example of if you started with $100,000 in 1997 and brought it all the way to 2012, this example shows exactly what would have happened. So red line, and we make a joke sometimes, and bear with me. Don't get offended. Julia, right? Can you take a joke? Okay, good. We all have a sense of humor in here. We pick on everybody. Wait, does anybody have a girlfriend in here? A wife? Spouse? Anybody? So, yeah, Ashley knows. We pick on her every week. So she's relieved. Thank you, Julia, for taking some weight off her back. So, does anybody know that a woman's mood is kind of not always that stable? Would you say so? A little bit. So, you know, you take her on a date, but you brought her to McDonald's. She's kind of pissed off about that. You made the bed, but you forgot the sheets. That's her favorite part. You cooked her dinner because you screwed up last time you tried to take her out, but you burnt everything and she's mad again. You never know what's going to happen. She can wake up one morning and be mad at you for no reason at all. At least that's what you think. Right? All right? Anybody agree to that?
Yeah.
Julia, do you agree to this? Okay, good. I'm trying to get myself off the hook with you. I don't want you to hate me. Don't kill the messenger here. All right, so you can see that the S&P 500 does kind of the same thing. Mrs. S&P 500 is what I like to call it. So we're going up, we're going down, we're going up, we're going down, we're going up. It's very volatile, and the truth is nobody can time the market. Nobody. I don't care what anybody tells you. Nobody can guess what that thing's going to do tomorrow. There could be a tsunami. There was an earthquake yesterday. An earthquake. How do you think that impacted some of the industries that are involved in the S&P 500? The wine industry took a huge hit in Napa Valley, where tourism and wine is the highest thing ever. It's their main source of income. Half the wine barrels broke. The wineries got really messed up. So could anybody have guessed that was going to happen the day before? Not at all. So when you have somebody telling you that they can time the market, get away from them, because they don't know what they're talking about. To ask them where their crystal ball is. So, up and down, up and down. We can't tell what's going to happen. So you start with $1,000 or $100,000, and we're talking about market risk. How do we mitigate that, right? Because you can see what happens, and you remember what happened over these years. We're going up. This is the dot-com crash right here, 2001. Boom, dead. Rising up again very steeply. 2008 comes, 38% loss. That's huge. Wiped out half of everybody's retirement savings. Then we're shooting up, and guess where we are right now? We're way up here. We're way up here right now. Anybody see a pattern forming here?
Yes, sir.
Up, down. What goes up must go down, right? So we're trying to protect people from that. And there's more to it. There's more to this story. That's not it. There's market loss going on all over the place here, and we're approaching a cliff right now. We call ourselves financialologists because when you listen to the weather, you look at the forecast the night before to see how to plan for your day, the next day, am I right? And if there's a hurricane coming, you're going to watch even more intently because you want to make sure that you're prepared for what's going to happen. You might even get out of town, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, there's a hurricane coming, and we're trying to prepare everyone for that. So we start with 100, and even with that market loss, right here you're ending with $165,830. Antonio, would you like $165,800?
Yeah.
You'd like that, right? You started with 100, you got 165. Not bad, right? Okay, well, there's something we're not thinking about here. The whole time, when you're having your money in this red line, there's somebody that's managing your money. So when you sat down at your job or you went to TD Ameritrade, you slid all your life savings across the table to Joe Broker. That's his name. I'm going to call him Joe Broker. Slid it all across the table, looked him in the eye, and signed some papers. And when you give Joe Broker your money, who carries all the risk? You do. Does Joe Broker carry any risk?
Absolutely.
Absolutely zero risk. None whatsoever. So what he's not really telling you is that when you give your money to him, he's charging you 3 to 5% on average in qualified accounts or 12 to 17 different fees every year while he's managing your money, whether he wins or loses. Do you know how happy Broker Joe is with all you guys right now? Broker Joe is very pleased because you just slid in your life savings and said, go play. Don't worry about how you do. If you win or lose, I'm going to pay you anyway. That's a pretty good deal for Broker Joe, I think. So every single year, 3 to 5% on your money for, let's say, 10 years. So you're at 165. 15 years, right. So we got 3% over 15 years. That's about what? It's about 45%, right? About 45,000. So you're at 165. When you account for all the fees and commissions you're paying to make this happen, because this number just says your money's there, and this is what the market did, right? When you have this here, you're paying every year about 45,000, 165. Knock that down a little bit, right? But there's one more thing we're not talking about. We said before, who are you in partnership with? Uncle Sam, right? So before you take your money out, who gets the first cut? Uncle Sam, you said it before. So not only did we just knock this down by 45,000, but if you're paying 25% taxes, which is probably, it's a median level right there, if you're paying another 25%, what's 25% of 165? It's about 40 grand. You can knock this down to about 85 grand. So when all is said and done, what are you left with? You're left with less than what you started with. How does everybody feel about that? Pretty good? Pretty okay. Pretty upset, right? That's disturbing. This is what 95% of people are doing with their money right now. So what do we do to protect ourselves from that? We're getting attacked from 3 different angles here. How do we mitigate that? And we use what's called an IUL, and that, so the blue line is here. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. How do we avoid the market loss? How do we avoid the taxes? How do we avoid the commissions and fees? So first, I'll tell you a little bit about it. The tax laws, the tax code is what allows us to do this. And the tax code, so everyone knows, has anybody ever read the tax code in here, by the way? And you're laughing. Yeah. I'm guessing you know why.
Yeah, because
it's probably taller than this building. Yeah, it probably is accurate. I wonder actually how tall it is. The thing is 93,000 pages long. Have you ever seen a book that's 93,000 pages long? Never? How do you even find that? I want to know. Where does this book actually exist? You know, before electronic documents, I don't know how this was even possible. But anyway, the tax code exists, and you go to your accountants, you go to your investment people, and you expect them to know what they're talking about, right? Nobody's read that book. How do you think they know what the tax codes are? Nobody knows what the tax codes are. So a lot of people don't know about these ones. We work in a specific industry and we work with people who know different areas of the tax code. And 2 tax codes that we use, now I'm going to erase this, okay? We know what we're defending against. We use tax codes 7702 and 101. This is the first reason why this is possible and why we do this. So what these say, we use other tax codes too to do different things because everybody's different, not one size fits all. So 7702 and 101, what that says is you can put your money away, you can grow it, and then you can take it, both principal and gains, tax-free, so long as it's linked to a life insurance policy at a certain ratio. So the young people in here saying, you know, we talked about life insurance, kind of disgusting, but you get it when we design a portfolio to allow you to get tax-free income. And now the ratio, we can do the minimum ratio because what we're trying to do is get you that tax-free retirement money. You saw what that impact was. At 25%, you're paying $50,000. $40,000, we said? That's a lot of money. You could avoid that. Why wouldn't you? So we're using the laws that exist in order to get the tax advantages. So has anybody ever heard of a loophole before? Yes. A little bit. So what is it? Fadil, can you describe to me what a loophole is? It's a way around the rules using the rules, right? So why does this exist here? Can anybody take a guess? Byron, go ahead.
People that write the law don't want to pay taxes.
The people who write the laws are just like you and I. They don't want to pay taxes either. So they left themselves an out. And all of them are using this. The senators, the governors, everyone. They all have accounts that use that tax code in order to avoid paying the taxes that they impose on us. Now, are they going to tell us about those? No. You know what pays their paycheck? Taxes pay their paycheck. So why would they tell you about that? Okay. So that's the tax code. Number 1 reason why this is possible and what we're trying to do. Number 2, a little history on what kind of method we're using to get gains in this kind of thing. Because we want growth that'll provide us income, right? Two of our offensive strategies. How do we do that? There's a guy named John Bogle. In 1976, John Bogle, he now runs the Vanguard Funds, one of the most successful funds, mutual funds in the country. And he's the guy who invented indexing. Now, indexing is not it's a type of investment. It's an investment strategy. And it's also known as dollar cost averaging. So John Bogle, we already said that you can't time the market, right? So what Broker Joe's doing is he's buying, selling. He's trying to get gains on your money by trying to time and beat the market. Now, we all know that that's very unlikely. So Bogle said the same thing, and he said, listen, you guys are nuts. I'm going to buy equal dollar amounts in all 500 companies in the S&P 500. So that's what he did, and he sat on it for an entire year. Didn't move one dime. Sat on it. What happened at the end of that year? I would make a guess, but you're all going to say you probably won, right? Wow. You can guess. He did. He beat 9 out of 10 of all those guys. 9 out of 10. And white paper just came out that said when you use an indexing strategy, you win in the first 5 years, you'll win 85% of the time. And if you continue after that, you win 92% of the time. Now, I studied biology and science, so I do a lot of statistics. 92%. You better take that because that's statistically significant. You don't want to mess with 92%. You do that. If that's winning 92% of the time, use an indexing strategy because that's what makes sense, right? So number one, we're using the tax code in order to get tax-free money later and grow our money tax-free. Number two, we're using an indexing strategy to get the most growth that we possibly can and try to win most of the time. Number three, this law changed all of our lives right here. In 1999, there was an act in place called the what, Trey?
Glass-Steagall.
Glass-Steagall Act. Glass-Steagall Act said that banks could only do banking, insurance companies could only do insurance, and stock brokers could only do stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So what that means is they can't cross. Don't cross the streams, right? Everybody's talking about Ghostbusters in here. They're coming out with a new one, I heard, by the way. Anyway, don't cross the streams. They say that in Ghostbusters. They said, do not do any of that stuff. You guys stay in your respective industries and don't mess with each other's business. 1999, they dissolved Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall, I'll write it here. They dissolved it with the Financial Modernization Act. And what that said is, okay, go compete. Because we're consumer advocates, right? And we all know that competition is good for the consumer all the time. So they said, go compete. It's going to be good for the consumer. Let's go. See what you can do. Who do you think won that competition? What was your name again, sir? Scott. Scott, that's right. Scott, who do you think won that? Out of banks, stockbrokers, and insurance companies? Take a guess. Banks? Nope, wrong.
Insurance companies.
Insurance companies, okay. Somebody fed you the answer right then.
I work in insurance.
Ah, all right. Now, why is that? Can you tell me that?
They have a very large portion of the market.
Yeah, they have most of the market. They have 80% of the global wealth. Really is exactly right. So they have more money than anyone else, which allows them to do things that banks and brokers can't do, which is to provide a guarantee. They can guarantee your money because they, number one, have more of it than anybody else. Number two, they work with insurance, and that's the goal, is to protect and guarantee. So with this law, insurance companies now are able to move into the investment world, move into the banking world, and provide products that mesh all of that in order to get the best of all three worlds. And that's what we're looking at now. So an IUL was invented, like I said before, in 2000, right after that law was dissolved. But it wasn't perfected until 2005. It takes a few years to work the kinks out, right? So you might be asking yourself, why don't I know about this? Why hasn't anybody told me about this? I have a broker, I have an investor, I have an insurance guy. Nobody knows about this. Why is that? It's because some people have been in the industry for years. They've been taught one way, and this isn't even available to them. A lot of people don't know. Technology changes, and not everybody keeps up with it. My dad, there's horrible at computers. Don't tell him I said that. But I'm good at computers because I was around when the new product came about. So I have to help out with everything. So we use the Index Universal Life, the retirement insurance contract, to get you blue line, provide you the defensive strategy and the offensive strategy. And it's, like I said, one size never fits all. It's different for everyone. But this is one of the main things we focus on because of how powerful it is for the consumer, for all of us. So what happens is you are guaranteed never to lose a dime of your principal or your gains ever. Ever. None of it. So because they give you that guarantee, you can gain up to 14%. They cap you at 14%. So up to 14% you can get in an IUL. So what that says is if the market does 16, what are you going to get? In an IUL, what are you going to get? If the market does 16,
14.
you're going to get 14. Exactly right. So if it does 20, what are you going to get, Julia? You're going to get 14. Right. If it does negative 10, what are you going to get? Yeah.
14.
No.
Is that what we're saying?
If it does negative 10, if the market does negative 10, what are you going to get?
0.
0. You're guaranteed never to lose a dime. So when 2008 happens, negative 38%, what are you going to get? Fidel, what are you going to get? You're going to get 0. Now you're guaranteed a 3% over the lifetime of the account, but we're getting up to 14%, which is market rates of return as far as I'm concerned. Because in this book right here, the market only did over 14% 2 times out of the 12 years we're talking about. It went below 0 in double digits or 0 5 times out of the 12. If I can get 14%, I'm going to take it. But if I'm going to lose 38%, I'm going to avoid that like the plague because that just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. If I don't have to lose money, I'm not going to. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest guys ever, the most successful investor of all time, apparently. That's what I read today, actually. He had a quote, and he said, the number 1 rule of money is don't lose any money. Number 2 rule of money is see rule number 1. Don't lose any money. And we all saw what the impact of a loss could be. It's multiplied by a lot. So look here, we're starting at 100,000, right? The market does a lot. And just so you know, this example here is only running at a maximum of 7.5%. We're not even talking about 14 here. So blue line is actually conservative by half. So market goes up, we're getting here 7.5%. In reality, you can get 14. So you would in this example. Next year, same thing. Next year, same thing. 2001, boom. Actually, 2000, big crash. What happens? Flat line, right? You don't lose a dime. Okay, now we're back getting into the gains, right? Where do you start from? Exactly where you stopped. Here we go. Up, 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 up. Same thing. You get here. What happens? Flat line. 2008, negative 38%. You get back into the money, and here you are here. You started with 100,000. You're ending with $211,000. And what a lot of people don't think about, and what they're not going to tell you when they sit down with you to show you that pretty blue number that they're going to show you in red line here, is this is a net number here. This here is a gross number. We already went over that. It's disgusting, actually, but what I mean by gross is this is before fees and commissions, and this is before taxes are taken out. This here is completely tax-free, and the fees and commissions are built in. And they're half as much. So here's the question. Would you rather start with 100,000 and end with 80, or would you rather start with 100,000 and end with 211? Here's our conundrum, right? A or B? Pick the big one, right? Yeah. The big one. B is better. B is the bomb. I'll give you some clues through the night of which one to pick. Just little sayings to remember. Okay. So, net number, gross, disgusting number. So, a little more history, just really quickly. I'm going to go through it pretty fast, so bear with me. I know it's a lot of information, but I'll see you next week. So, here we go. A little bit of history on why the taxes are so important to think about. The taxes, let's show it here. Does anybody 39.6% is the highest tax bracket today, right? Yeah. Does anybody know how many tax brackets there are? Oh, 6 tax brackets in the United States today. 39.6 being the highest. Everybody thinks that's high. I saw you guys all raise your hand pretty high, right? If I told you it was only lower than that 2 times in the history of the United States, would you be a little bit disturbed about that? It's called shifting baselines. We don't remember that. Generations before us were paying up to 91% in taxes. If we look at this, the average over the history of the U.S. is 62.1%. The average highest tax rate in the U.S. So look, this is where we are now. We're at 39.6. These are the 2 times in history where it was lower, and this is what it's been for the entire rest of the time. And just so you know, it's very closely related to the national debt. Does anybody know that we're in the highest national debt we've ever been in the history of the United States? So let me get this straight. We're in the highest national debt that we've ever been in the history of the U.S., and only 2 times has the tax rate been lower. What do you think is going to happen? Anybody guess? Okay, it's going to go up. So there was a study. Has anybody heard of the CBO in here? The Congressional Budget Office. If you watch a lot of finance stuff on TV, you'll hear about them. Congressional Budget Office, the branch of government, bipartisan, and they do non-biased studies of decisions the government makes in order to show what the impact will be on the accounting of the U.S. government, and then what that effect will be on the taxpayers. So, really quickly, David Walker was the head comptroller of the United States a few years ago, and that's the head accountant for the whole entire United States. And he, tries to keep everything in order. So when things were not going, he resigned since then, and he's touring the country doing talks about exactly what happened and why he resigned. So CBO, he said, CBO, look at what's happening in the government. They're making decisions. Tell me what happens with these 4 branches of government. How much of every single dollar of tax money goes to that? So the 3 branches are Social and Security, which we're not going to get. We got Medicare. We got Medicaid. And we got the interest on the national debt. My handwriting is terrible, so forgive me. So those 4 departments, out of every $1, how many cents go to, how many cents of every dollar of our tax money goes to those 4 alone? Anybody guess?
35%.
Just about. Just about. So 76 cents of every dollar of tax money goes to fund just those 4 departments. Now, David Walker said that's kind of ridiculous. How are we running the government on 14 cents? The entire rest of the government, the military, Navy, Army, National Defense, National Parks, roads, anything you can think of on 14 cents. Not sustainable. So he said, show me what happens by 2020. What do you think that number went up to? Based on nothing changing in government, which it isn't. I'll tell you right now. Right answer. It was 92 cents. So that means 8 cents of every dollar of tax money is going to fund only those 4 departments of government. Starting in 2020, which, by the way, is only a few years down the road. So he said, what is the impact on the taxpayer? What effect is that going to have on us? He said, show me this. Show me the bottom tax bracket in the U.S. is 10. The median is 25, and the highest is 39.6, which we already said. What are those? What's going to happen to those by 2020 if nothing changes? And we got 92 cents of every dollar funding only those 4 departments. They came back and told him, now this is a mathematical study. They're doing this as scientists, and I'm a scientist too, so I get how that works. It's statistics. They just run the numbers. So what they said is the 10% tax bracket is going to have to, in order to sustain the U.S. government, go up to 25%. The 25% tax bracket is going to have to go to 63%. The 39.6% tax bracket is going to have to go to 88%. So if you saved $1 million for your retirement, great job. How are you going to feel when before you pay yourself and your family, you got to give $880,000 away to your Uncle Sam? Are you okay with living on $120,000 for the rest of your life? I don't think that's very possible. And that's not even talking about the fees and commissions you're paying Broker Joe to play with your money with no risk the whole entire time. So you can see there's a storm of brewing, right? There's stuff that we are not aware of, and nobody's telling us this. The brokers don't want to tell you that because they're getting paid big bucks to do it. The government doesn't want to tell you about it because they're getting paid big bucks to do it. Qualified accountants, right? So how do we mitigate this? We use what's called an IUL. new product that's pretty powerful. And like I said, it gives you three things. It gives you life insurance, gives you living benefits, and gives you tax-free retirement. So I want to talk a little bit more about living benefits, and for that, I want to bring up Trey Carter, who's got a great story to tell, and he tells it better than anybody in this room. So with that, Trey Carter, thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Did everybody learn a little something tonight? Yeah. Show of hands. Everybody learn at least something new? Great, great. First thing I'm going to have you do is go ahead and write down 10 names on a piece of paper. If you need a piece of paper, I'll get you one. I'm going to make this real quick. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to make it fast. 10 names that you know, love, and care about most. I'm going to go through this kind of quick so we can get through tonight. I know you've been throwing a lot of information, so we'll make this quick. Now, why am I having you write down 10 names? Simply because of something called living benefits. What living benefits is, or actually, I'll tell you this first. Out of the 10 names that you guys write down, are you guys good to go for the most part? Looks like it. Go ahead and cross 7 of those names out. So out of the 10 people that you know, love, and care about most, cross 7 of them out. Why did I have you do that? Simply because it's a fact that 7 out of 10 people are going to have a heart attack, cancer, or stroke before they turn age 65. Now, by show of hands, does anybody in here know anybody that's younger than 65 had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke and still living? Okay, everybody? Every single hand in the room, I'm probably 20 people. So if you, that's crazy. That's why I do this. This is my personal crusade because of that. I've seen it happen in my own life. I lost my mother at the age of 44. She had 2 strokes before she passed away. You know, my father had one. I've had uncles. I've lost grandmothers and grandparents to cancer. So to me, I mean, the saving money is great. Everybody needs to know how to obtain tax-free retirement and not lose money in the market and not pay other people while you're saving for retirement. But to me, this is why I do this. This is how you make a profound difference in somebody's life. Because to me, if I, Cody, I helped you out, right? You have, and now you will. I do. So if you've had a heart attack in 30 years, while people are bringing you get well cards and I bring you a $100,000 check, how am I going to feel? How would you guys feel as a person?
Also, a lot better than someone bringing flowers.
A lot better than someone who brings flowers, right? Because what this is because how it came about is the Bernard brothers. They started open heart surgery years ago. And this lady had a lung transplant. She was doing good. The transfer went well. Everything went great. She came back for a checkup about a year or 2 later, and she looked like death. She just looked horrible. And the doctor said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You can't be working. You got to rest. You just had a lung transplant. What are you doing?" And she's like, "Look, I have 2 kids. I got to put food on the table. I'm a single mother. I don't have a choice." Long story short, she ended up dying. So the Bernard brothers, we looked at it and they said, "All right, we're over here saving people. You know, we're saving their lives." And then they have life insurance policies like IUL that are going to pay a death benefit when they die. So they have to die to benefit from their life insurance. So they went over to UK where they have a big influence on the insurance companies and said, "Look, you guys are dummies. You're going to pay them this money when they die. Why not give it to them and advance them their death benefit when they're alive when they can use it more?" Because does anyone know the average age of a heart attack? I'll tell you, it's 43 years old. Average age of bankruptcy, 44. Why does that happen? Someone tell me. Someone that's new. So can you tell me why that happens? Any idea?
Stress.
Stress. That sends them into remission. Yeah, stress, but they can't go to work. When you can't go to work for a year, how you by then you have a family most likely. I'm sure you have a mortgage. I'm sure you have car notes. I'm sure you're going to have all kinds of stuff going on. How are you going to pay for that?
Savings.
Savings? What happens when you drain your savings?
Bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy, because I'm here to tell you I've seen it in my own life. I grew up in a house. You know, I'm not here to pay the pity story, but I want you to understand this. To me, I'm passionate about this. I have a burning desire to help everybody, to educate everybody. I'm not here to sell you nothing. I'm not here to do anything but simply educate you and give you a choice, as we all are. And at the same time, it's a business opportunity, because who in here likes money? Who in here could use extra money, like Coach said? Now, does anybody, or does everybody in here agree that those names on your list, they need to know about living benefits, and they should know about tax-free retirement? And if they have the 401k, they're putting their money somewhere else and they're losing in the market and they're paying other people, don't you think they should at least know about this? Is there anybody that thinks they should? Okay, nobody. Great. So we all agree that it's great for people. And we all agree that we like money. Does everybody kind of get the story here? So we all like money. All right. Now, I'm horrible with names. What's your name? Julia. Do you think that what you learned tonight, you could show somebody and they'll understand it? And you think you could do that for somebody? If somebody helped you to do it? If I were here to train you and you sit down with somebody and we show them our story and they understand it, do you think you could do that? Okay, great. Now, a VP contract in our company, because we're going to start talking about the business now, a VP contract, which is, well, I'll tell you how to get there here in a minute, but a VP contract, our average customer is spending $300 a month, investing $300 a month, and on $300 a month, at a VP contract, our company will advance you on average $3,000. Shep, how long does it take you to make $3,000?
Probably a month and a half.
Month and a half? How long does it take you?
Probably 2 months.
2 months? All right, well, it takes no more than 4 hours. If it does, big deal. I'll take the time to sit with anybody. It doesn't matter. But on average, it's 4 hours. Now, would you trade 4 hours for a month and a half?
Yeah.
Would you trade 4 hours for 2 months? Yeah, that's great. Do you think you could get 5 people that might be ambitious, that might have integrity, that might want to be somebody? You know, that might want to change their life, that might want something new, that might want an opportunity. Anybody? I'm sure everybody in here knows 5 people that they could bring here that might be interested. Can everyone agree with me on that? All right. So let's say we have whoever it is in this room here, and keep in mind you're at the VP contract. You get 5 people. All right. And so say, Julia, do you think you could do 2 transactions a month, show people how to get point A to point B the safest way possible, and it's good and right for them? Do you think you could do that? Because wouldn't you agree that's what we're doing for people here? All right, great. So if you did 2 of those a month personally, that's you. This is you right here. Ooh, hey. You did 2. Now your team, your 5 people that you want, ambitious, and might want to be somebody like you said, they want to build a business. They want money. We all need money. It's one thing we need the most, but we know the least about. So, say 3 out of your 5 members, these guys say they didn't do nothing, did the same. They transacted 2, the same thing you did. Showed people how to get point A to point B the safest way, 2 in a month. At a VP contract, you'll be making $127,000 a year. Somebody in here want to make a 6-figure income?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Because I mean, I'm just saying it's here. And it's not. I'm not going to say it's not easy, because it is easy if you just apply yourself. But it really isn't hard. To me, it's a matter of just wanting to grow in life, like Byron was saying. We should all change, and when we change, we grow. You know, if you're not growing in life, you're dying. If you're not, whatever it is in your life, I don't care. It doesn't have to be this. Whether it's you bettering your relationship with your significant other, or you just wanting to, go work out and feel good. If you're not growing in life, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're dying. And I'm excited for the opportunity. I've been here for about 4 months now, and my life's changed drastically. And with that being said, I'll bring up Coach.
Good job, Trey. Good morning again.
Good morning. Good morning.
So we're wrapping up. They talk too much and we listen too long. Yet, how many of you did get something out tonight? Honestly. Okay? That's a big deal. So you can't come here and not act. Now, a couple of things. I made some notes too. By the way, hey fellas, when we're using the whiteboard, you can't use red because I can't see it in the back. You got to use black. So in the future, black. Okay, can we do that? See, we're all learning. You guys can read it okay? I was struggling. Okay, and by the way, the example that Trey just put on the board, let me make it very clear to you. Okay, I love what he just did. He asked you, how many of you put down 10 names? Some of you weren't coachable, you didn't. Some put down 3, 2, but 10 names you had, right, Julia? Okay, now watch. Don't you feel morally responsible to at least educate those people? Not you, we'll do it, but could you introduce them to it?
Some of them are here, but
Some of them are here?
aren't here.
No, we don't care. Guess what? You see that computer? That's right now. How many people are on that thing?
A few.
Okay, there's people all over the country doing sessions like this tonight and also watching this meeting. So there's Skype, there's telephone. We don't care where they are. We can still communicate, right? The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. How many people think that's true? Okay, so we got to learn how to communicate right. This is about people skills. This isn't just the math. Guess what? I stunk at math. Anybody ever stink at math? How many of you hate algebra? My hand's up for me. I flunked geometry twice. Anybody like me? Twice! I got really good on the third time round. I had to pay attention. Couldn't do it again. Okay? Here's what I can do, though. I can count money. Can you count money?
Sure can.
You are a greedy guy, aren't you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I can tell that right now. Because you were the a lot guy, right?
Yes.
Okay, right. There's only one kind of money. You know what it is?
Green.
No. No. Who said that? If I was asking you, Odette, did you just say money? Who said it? Oh, Big Mouth Cody. All right. Give Cody a round of applause for the big mouth. He's a wide mouth frog back there. I'm asking you, and he's answering. Okay, but that's true. You hear what he said? It's only one kind of money. And you said green. I'll take it in Russian. You can find it. It's brown over there. Okay. There's only one kind of money. Not enough. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Scott, you agree with it? Look at. I love what one of you said it that you're what do you got? Your resumes? How many of you got resumes? I used to have one. How many of you have stress over trying to write that thing? What do you think they want to see? How can I BS them on this one? How do I make that real good? How many of you work at that? Some of you hire people to write them. Am I right or right? Hello. Look, it kills me, and it's true. Who said it in here? Your resumes probably don't even qualify. You make $100,000 a year. In here, we just showed you how you can build a business, and it's your business. It's your business. You own it. Everything you do stays with you. As a matter of fact, there's some of those big companies we work with have already made a commitment to purchase our marketing company, provided we hit numbers, and if they do, you own that. Whoa, you want to talk about getting wealthy? We've been there. We were with companies that started out at $2 a share, split. What that means is for every share you own, they gave you another share, all that kind of stuff. And finally, the share price was $60 a share. How many people know that when you start out at $2 a share and it's up at 60 and it's split like a dozen times, you made some money? How many of you understand that concept? Right. So don't be sitting on your DuPas. And what are you majoring in over there at FGCU? And what are you learning how to account?
What was that?
What are you learning how to account? What are you counting? Beans? I'm teasing you.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of humor?
Yeah.
Okay, smile, or I have to come give you a beating. Okay. Now, see, accounting, and they're not teaching this stuff, are they? Not at all. It's a sham. So we expose people. Who's got the FIPs too? Hurry up! I got to do this quick. Okay, way over. We're going to learn how to do this meeting shorter. Got it? We're going to cut things out. We're going to get. Not you. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at all the other big flappers. Don't talk to the board anymore. You're going to talk to the people. If you talk to the board, I'm going to come up and wrap you in the head with the board. Okay? This is a training class too. How many people I can train? Are you going to give me time to train them? I'm training them at the same time. Everybody hearing that? This is an FIP. You know what this is, Julia? Scott, you see what it says? Here's another guy. I'm asking Scott if Big Paul's answer.
That far away, I was just kidding. Yeah.
Well, I'm asking him if he's got good vision next. Where do you think I'm going with this? Okay, so right, what was that called now?
Financial independence.
Okay, right. I have one. Do you have one?
No.
Why not?
I do now.
Where is it?
I'm putting it with you guys.
Oh, so you're going to.
Yes.
You don't now. You see what he's saying? That's brilliant. And whose is this? This is Trey Carter's. Now, Trey, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but I can. Where's the summation? You're doing $100 a month?
Yeah, but it's all free.
It's all free. See, it's not free. Here's what we teach. 9 out of 10 of our customers don't spend one nickel out of their pocket. We teach people how you're blowing all the money, and we teach you how to change it. For instance, you get a tax refund check last year? I bet you were happy about that, right?
I thought I was until now.
Well, you don't even know where I'm going with this.
I mean, no, I don't.
No, he doesn't. Don't you love that? He's like doubtful all of a sudden, right? Now, how much was your tax refund check last year? $1,200, yo! And you party hardy, right?
No, I paid some bills.
Okay, right. See how they sucked them in? Now watch. How many of you got tax refund checks? Raise your hand. Okay? Now, you're all knuckleheads. Oh, by the way, can we insult you politely? Do we have permission?
Yeah.
I forgot. I just did it without permission.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't argue with me. Okay, here we go. Okay. You all think, because you've been trained, because your mom and dads don't know it, Their mom and dads didn't know it. The accountants aren't teaching you this stuff, are they? You don't want a tax refund check. You get all excited, because watch, listen to me. When you got your check back, how much interest was attached to that check?
I couldn't be too sure, but I know I paid at one
I'm
point.
very sure.
Oh, man.
How much do you think you got? Julie, how much was yours? 2,400, yo! You got the great American screwdriver plan. Okay? How much interest was attached to your check? See, isn't that a great question, Mr. Shipley? See how we're asking it? See, we're asking questions not to make you feel inappropriate. We're asking questions to make you think about what's going on so you realize we're dead serious. Crusade, real crusader. We're crusade because we're right and we tell the truth. And when you tell the truth, you make a difference in people's lives. I'm tired and sick and tired of letting everybody take advantage of you. And if you don't make a difference in your own lives tonight, then you deserve to be taken advantage of. End of sentence. Fix your life. As of tonight, I'll tell you what exactly to do. How am I doing?
Good.
Anybody want to argue? Boom. Okay. So Julia, in your example, this is what they gave you back. How's that make you feel? Listen to me. That's exactly right. Every paycheck they kept pulling money, and you see old Mr. FICA, and it's going right out the window, right? Then you say, okay, I want it back. It's called tax refund. So you overpaid, didn't you? Then when you ask for it back, did they give it to you immediately? No. Now watch. This is unbelievable. Who in here ever had to pay the government? My hand's up for Mr. Shipley. If you had to pay the government, did you pay them zero interest back? No. They charged him interest. If you don't pay it on time, they tack interest. So that is a screw job, in my opinion. Can you call it anything else? Oh, you're so polite. Reading for the man and being so polite. How many people know that's not really Paul Dunbar? Okay. That's a transformation of Paul Dunbar. How many people get that? We're empowering him a lot of different ways. All right. No, don't be doing this. Okay, don't be doing the Paul imitation. You're going to make me do it. Okay, so watch. The Great American Plan. Now, how many people are you pissed off at that now, Julia? Sir, what's your name again?
Ray.
No, Ray, okay, in front of Ray. FGC. Josh. Oh, that's right, Josh. You should have gotten it. I'm sorry. So, are you learning more than what the... I'm going to school with you tomorrow. We're going to make an appointment, you and me. We're going to go see Bradshaw. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to tell Bradshaw?
No.
I want you to get a tuition refund. Shouldn't you get your tuition back? If you don't want it back, I'm going to get it and I'm going to take it. You're paying them to educate you the wrong way. Am I right or right? Look at Josh. He's having a hard time. Oh, how do I answer that? See, I'm not... Listen, school is great. Education is great. Are we making the point, though?
Yes.
Do y'all get it? Okay, we're trying to expose what the truth is. And it's sad that we're not learning the right things. It's sad, Julia, that that's true. Okay? We're going to teach you how to fix that. In fact, we're going to give you... Our website's got everything in the back office. Everything. In fact, we have a part with the IRS website. You can go right to it, and it will recalculate for you what you have to change your W-4 form for us, W-2. And when you do it, you're going to have more money in your paycheck every week. We just gave you a raise. What are we going to do with that money? Open up a what? No, open up an FIP. If you don't know the answers, then don't say it, okay? Paulie, I mean, you're yapping too. Where did I put that? Okay, right here. Thank you. Okay? So this is an FIP. When he said it didn't cost him any money, okay, we save the money. That's just in taxes. We do it a lot of different ways. It's not just in taxes, the electric bill. We have multiple ways that we sit with the debt. Ryan just saw a young lady. I'm going to use her example. She has listen, 33 years old, single, very sweet lady, good-looking lady, has a nice job for the state, owns a house, okay, got student loan debt, 33 still with debt, credit card debt. He sat around, and you should see the program we got. It's unbelievable. With that GPS system, who was talking about the debt? Okay, Byron was. It's a software program that you own because you buy it. It's not just a program. You own a software program. You go on it anytime you want, and it tracks you forever. When he did this lady's program, she's out of debt. She was going to be in debt for 26 years.
25 years.
25 years, out of debt in 4.9, including the mortgage. She was already funding an IRA that if she kept funding it and got 8%, listen to the numbers real quick, I don't want to blow you away. At 8%, if she made 8% from now until the time she was ready to retire and kept funding it with her money that she had every year, by the time she was done, when she pulled out, if she pulled out, how many people think $35,000 a year would be reasonable if you wanted a retirement account from your IRAs? That's what she was asking for. That's what he said. Make $35,000. You know when it was that she was dead broke? In 2.5 years. That's all. Still funding it the way she's doing it in an IRA. She's broke. Do you understand that? He went and did the debt, rolled the debt money that we saved her because her mortgage is paid off in 4 years, 9 months. Who wouldn't do that without spending a nickel out of her pocket? See, we show people how to save money. You're blowing it all over the place. Our job is to be consumer advocates, educate people about choice, and say which one you want. We don't sell anything, we replace everything. Does everybody get that? I don't want to be a salesman. I want to be the replacement king. You've already been sold. Badly. We want to replace. How many people get it? Okay? I don't think you got this. $3,000, it's the highest paid industry in the world. Did you hear that? That's why when we saw it 40 years ago, I went, whoa! If you're going to work, why not work in the highest paid industry? Am I right or right? Would everybody agree to that? Yeah. Then do it, especially when you have a shot. Now, guess what? Normal financial or Wall Street wouldn't take you on. You'd have to qualify. You have to wear a certain shirt and have clips or something. What do you call those things? Cufflinks. And look good and walk different. You wouldn't make it. You have to shave that thing.
Beard.
Oh, you have a beard.
This is me, though.
Yeah, but you look like Genghis Khan.
Yep.
Right? No.
Hey, something like that.
Something like that. I'm only kidding. That's great. He just called him Genghis Khan. No, I'm only kidding. All right. So his FIP for $100. That's what I was going for. Watch. This is what he gets for this. He comes into his program. He's got living benefits. We forgot to say what it was. When you're critically ill, chronically ill, or terminally ill, in those areas, you get to take your money up front right now with no questions asked. When the insurance companies don't pay for you in health insurance, this does. This is brilliant. This is a new product. There's only out of 2,700 companies in the United States, there's only 18 right now that do this. Folks, if this opportunity is here today, it will not be the same opportunity 3 years from now. So mark my words. You better come in here and build now and get crazy and go nuts for the next 3 years on your part-time to full-time basis to go build your business. Because every other joker out there will be doing what we're doing within 5 years. Why? Because they got to do what's right. And they're going to get licensed in all the states. We're just ahead of the curve. Do you understand that? That's what they call it, opportunity. Now, if you want to sit back and think about it, keep thinking. Hello, you all with me? Am I doing that all right?
Yes.
Okay, so watch this one. At retirement, this young man right now will be paid $38,569 of tax-free income a year. Till he dies. And he's got living benefits and he's got life insurance also of $50,000. This is only $100 a month. I'm mad at him because that's nowhere near. I want him starting to put $200, $300. In fact, I'm going to come after you. This is getting increased. Okay, I just saw it. I'm not happy about it. Yeah, no. What do you have? He gets $103,000 tax-free. He's only paying $38 a month. $38 a month gives him $103,000 a year tax-free. He only makes $40,000 right now for the state. What a joke! How cool is that?
Awesome.
Now, I don't know about you, but money speaks for itself. How many of you are tired of making decisions based upon the money you don't have? Did you hear the question? Okay, all of you make decisions based upon the money you don't have. Too bad you shouldn't. Everybody should walk around with an extra Franklin. Am I right or right? You have an extra Franklin?
I don't have today.
Well, I'm going to beat you senseless all night tonight, okay? Like you and me. Holy smoke. You have an extra Franklin? See, most people just walk around. Well, it's amazing. He's walking around. This is a big thing in his life, man. That's a Franklin. Benny. Everybody should have a Benny. How many of you agree everybody should have a Benny? An extra one. In your pocket for attitude. How many of you need attitude? You know what attitude is? Here's that way when you go. Here's what you're mostly doing. You're broke. How's it going? All right. Same old. You know, just getting by. You do that, Pierre? Yeah. When you get an extra 100, what do you think you're walking like? How's it going? Great! It's great. Hey, when you're going somewhere nice and you're all prissy and you look pretty and you're in front of the mirror, do you strut? Yes or yes?
Yeah, just like
Ah! Just like that. I don't know about that. You're in trouble. The point of it is, you know, you strut when you have extra money. Am I clear about that? So here's what you do. You see, get your own FIP. How do you do that? I want you to fill out, be a good guest. In fact, guest, you're awesome. Thank you for putting up. We went way over. We're going to readjust our meeting, so we cut it down. But thank you for your patience. And it got warm in here. I'm acknowledging that because we're ending. I want you to fill out this questionnaire, so pass them out, will you please, Ryan? And let us know what you think. That's number one. Number two is make an appointment with the person that invited you here to go to the next step, to answer any. We are here to overcome any objection or ask questions, Travis, that you might have. Travis, just to hear the second time you've been here, is that right?
Third time.
The third time? You gotta start doing the meeting. Okay, did you learn something every time you come, Travis?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, and your young brother, what's your brother's name again? Dylan, you're 20 years old. Did you learn something? Here, you could be wealthier than anybody in this room. Because you're 20 years old. You use those principles and be smart, your father will tell you that. If your father doesn't tell you, I'm going to come kick your butt, you do it. Okay? Make money work for you. You shouldn't have to go work for it. Everybody teaches you go work for money. No, I have money work for me. I don't like working for money. You work right now, Dylan? What time do you get up?
Depends on valet.
All right, you're a valet. So you go running for people. You're a runner. Okay, great. Mr. Shepley, when you get up and go to work, what time you got to get up?
Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Now, how many people know that he's already thinking going home and going to the crib? He's already thinking crib time. You know why? Because it's 9 o'clock. He's going, oh, I got to get up. See, so tomorrow morning, I'm going to set my alarm in tribute to you. At 5, smack it, and I'm going to say, good morning, Mr. Shepley. I'm going to shut it off, and you know what I'm doing? You're rolling out. You know what I'm doing? Rolling over. And don't get mad at me. And you Shepley kids, you better take care of your father. He's been doing that for years to take care of your fat butts. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. He wouldn't tell you that, but I will.
Actually, when you said who do you say first,
yep.
I wanted to interrupt before and say me. For them.
Right, exactly. See, but we're going to change that tonight. Fair enough? I'm really glad you came. I think it was great leadership of your son to invite you and Cody. You know, great job, 3 of you. I love that. That's a family deal. Okay, we believe in that. This is about family, by the way. This is no nonsense, folks. We're going to affect one family at a time. That's exactly what we're doing. So it is an opportunity. Did you think you were going to see this? No, we know that. So fill out those forms. Look at your own FIPs. And what's the next thing I wanted to say? Oh, that example we put on the board, that's a 90-day window. You have the right to get that contract in 90 days of our coaching. 90 days. That's ridiculous. You won't know what you're doing. You will not understand anything, but I'd go build a business quickly. We're doing it for a reason. Why does every company have a sale, sir? Do you know why, Scott? But yeah, and to motivate your butt to go do it because you have to go into action because you won't. I'll get around to it. I give those out too. I give you little round to it. How many of you are guilty of round to it? When I get around to it, yeah, you stay broke that way. Am I right or right? Now, Josh, how young are you?
22.
20, well, you're getting ready for prime time, so you're still a little wet around the ears. You know what I mean? You telling me I'm a punk? Yes, a young one. Okay, when you're older and get beat up, you start appreciating it. Okay, Scott thinks differently than you do. You know why? Because of time. Am I right or right, Scott?
Right.
See, he would appreciate that, and you don't even know what I'm talking about yet. You'll find out. How young are you, Scott?
46.
Well, he was like a woman. He wasn't going to tell me.
Sometimes I feel old.
Right. Well, we can change that now. Guess what? We got plenty of energy. All right, and you'll get it in this business because the greatest thing about this business, it's all about the people. You know what the worst thing about this business is? The people. Because you're knuckleheads. Well, so frustrating because you're not coachable. You're all coachable. Yeah, we're going to find out. Okay, we need to have it duplicate this one step at a time. You all can eat an elephant, one bite at a time. And that's what we teach you how to do. Even you can learn this business. What do you think of that?
I can't wait.
Genghis Khan.
I can't wait.
Genghis Khan in the business. Unbelievable. Okay, and one last closing on one of your, I think it's Stephen, I don't know, it's one of your guys. Oh, it was your guy. Alex Tovar. Young man. 20, how young is he?
23, 24.
He ought to be here.
That word.
Well, then tell him to quit. No, I'm going to kiss him. Now, he's at work, but he's still listening to us. How about this one? He calls last week, and this is how touching this is. Young 24-year-old, he's got a little baby, he's got a wife, and he's got a new one. She's either drinking a lot of beer and eating a lot of pasta, or she's pregnant. One of the two. What is she pregnant? Pregnant. She's about to give birth. I'm just teasing. I knew that. He's about to have a second baby. Not only did he get an IUL, but he also got himself a term plan to take care of his family with living benefits and term policy and a savings plan. He got one also for his wife. The two of them sat together, did their budgets, everything. When we were speaking to him last week, Stephen, he says, you know what, Coach? I feel like a man for the first time in my life. A 24-year-old kid said to me, I feel like a man. Because he's taking care of business. Himself and the two kids he put on the face of this earth that he's taking responsibility for. That was growth. You know what? That made me have enough energy to keep doing this business forever. If I hear one of that a month, I'll stay doing it in spite of all the knuckleheads that walk out of here and don't do a dang thing, getting around to it. You don't have time for around to it. God gave us time that's precious. Right now, more than money, time is more valuable to me. Pierre, because I'm a lot older than you. I'm in my fourth quarter, pal. God's going to take me out someday, you know. But I have to realize I'm in my fourth quarter, and none of you, the youngins, you don't think like that. You don't have to, but start planning your life so you don't have to worry. You listen to me, Travis, because I'm telling the truth. Sometimes the truth's uncomfortable to deal with. Well, we fix it for people. So I want to thank you for coming. Make sure, did everybody get one of those handouts? Mm-hmm. Okay, fill it out, give it back to us. We'll stay behind. And here's my one thing. Scott, what did you like best about what you heard? Wow, nice. Genghis Khan?
It's on the paper, everything.
All right. Mr. Shepley, what'd you like best?
The reality check.
Wow, I love that. All right. You have to do one more thing. Give me a nice round of applause before we go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Tape.